I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Rian Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J are back again with another video, and today I'm here to show off my entire Star Wars Black Series collection. This was actually in response to a question from the Your Questions Answers series, so shout out to who asked that question. And I'm pretty excited to show you guys this Black Series collection. You guys see so many of my Lego projects and of my Lego sets and just Lego collection in general, and I haven't really gotten to show you in a video how my Black Series collection is looking. I was an avid Black Series collector probably around 2015-ish, around when The Force Awakens came out, and then the ensuing years, pretty much right up until after The Last Jedi. I think Solo was the last time I really was like looking for Black Series figures. I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I don't know what it is about this year. Maybe just being in quarantine, I got maybe a little bit extra motivation to come back to Black Series and start collecting a lot more figures. And seeing all these right now in front of me is incredible. I remember when I had my first Black Series figure, I remember getting it in the mail, and I had just 4 for the longest time. So to make it to this point where I've counted and I have 63 Black Series figures is pretty awesome, and I'm really looking forward to getting to share these with you today. I have so many figures on the table right now, and honestly it's a bit hard to try to show them off without knocking one over, which usually results in knocking many of them over. So I'm basically gonna go by film in order to show you my collection, so let's go ahead and jump right into that. All right, the first group of figures we're going to look at are my prequel / Clone Wars era figures. I know I said I'd be separating this video or segmenting this video by film, but I just don't have that many prequel figures in general. Like, I have basically episode 2 figures and a Clone Wars figure. So I figured, why not just make this easy on myself and group all of these together. It's not that I decided not to buy very many of these prequel figures because I don't like the films, but it actually just happens to be the case that they just weren't making very many of these when I was really hardcore into collecting. Like, pretty much every single one of these figures outside of Jango Fett and Commander Cody are figures that I bought over the past few weeks. So basically before this point, the only prequel era figures I had for Black Series were basically Jango and Cody. I'm trying to get more, however. Like, I'd love to get at least a single figure from episode 1. I think that would be a good start, and some episode 3 figures as well. But for now, I'm pretty happy with what I have. I was actually very happy to get basically the entire main cast of episode 2 with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme. And of course, I have Count Dooku front and center standing next to the Geonosis battle droid. I think that's a pretty cool figure. The Plo Koon figure is one that I didn't really plan on picking up at any time soon, but I found just a deal on eBay that I literally could not pass up, and I'm actually very happy I got it. It's a pretty cool, unique looking figure. Like, I love having the kind of obscure aliens in I love having the obscure aliens in Black Series form. Out of all these figures, I'd have to say my favorite is this Kamino clone right here. I was super hyped to get this figure. Whenever it arrived at my doorstep, I was just so excited. This is probably one of my favorite clone designs in all of Star Wars, and having a very nicely detailed Black Series figure of it just makes me so happy. Like, there's something about the white and gray color scheme on a clone trooper that just looks so beautiful to me. I really do hope Lego at some point decides to make a minifigure of this guy, because I would army build those to no end. The Jango Fett figure has a removable helmet, which is actually pretty cool. So you can pop his helmet off and actually just show Temuera Morrison's face right there. It's actually cool because whenever I first got this figure, one of the first things I did was pop his head off and put it on Cody to basically replicate the scene in episode 3 where Cody doesn't have his helmet on. I just thought that'd be a fun thing to show off. Next up, we have my episode 4 figures. These resonate a lot with me because this was actually the first group that I tried to collect from Black Series. This Luke right here at the very front was one of the very first Black Series figures I got. The Han Solo was one that I got pretty shortly after it, and this was a difficult figure to get. I'm honestly not even sure if since then they've actually remade this figure. This might actually still be an expensive figure to get, but I know at the time I had to pay around 30 or 40 bucks to get it, and it retailed for 20. That was annoying, but I really did want to have the original episode 4 cast, and I achieved that. I guess other than R2-D2, that's one that I still don't have, but I have Pretty much all the main cast here: Luke, Han, Leia, C-3PO, Chewie, and Obi-Wan towards the back. I was very happy to collect all of these guys. I got Greedo over here chilling to the side. This was actually one that my friend gave me, which was pretty cool. He had an extra one that was gifted to him, and he decided to pass it right along to me, so I really did appreciate that. These two Sand Troopers are some of the pride and joy of my Black Series collection. These are some of my favorite Black Series figures. I just love the way the Sand Trooper looks in 6-inch, and I just love the way these Sand Troopers look as 6-inch Black Series figures. The sand detail on them are awesome. They come with a bunch of guns, which was also kind of a not super common thing when I was collecting them. Like, they just didn't have a bunch of weapons to go around, but I think both of these guys each had 3 weapons that they came with, which was pretty fun. And even the backpack on the back had a decent amount of detail. I wanted to get basically all 3 variants of it at the time. There was the orange pauldron, white pauldron, and black pauldron one, but the black pauldron one was the one that I never ended up getting. I'm pretty sure since then they've made one with like a teal, not maybe teal, like a sand blue-ish pauldron, which, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd like to have that. Honestly, just don't remember seeing that in the film, but it is another thing that I might pick up at some point down the line. These two, Wedge and the TIE Fighter pilot, are probably 2 of my more recent Black Series figures. I basically bought these whenever Squadrons came out. I figured, why not go ahead and celebrate the release of Squadrons with 2 pilot figures? And I think they both look awesome. I think Wedge's helmet is so cool, and the TIE Fighter pilot is probably one of my Black Series figures. It looks really nice as a Black Series figure. One last thing I did want to mention is I want to get a new Luke, definitely. This Luke, I think, for one, is a bit too tall. He should not be that tall compared to Harrison Ford. And also, his shirt is just super dirty. Like, he obviously has a cloth shirt here. I didn't do anything weird with this figure. Like, it pretty much has just sat in a box for the longest time, but for some reason, that shirt is extremely dirty. I got the Leia, it couldn't have been much longer after I got this Luke, and she's still perfectly white with her cloth clothes, but the Luke, for whatever reason, is just extremely dirty. So I definitely would like to get an updated version of him. And I know they've made at least one better version of this Luke figure since it's come out. So that'll be one that I definitely look forward to getting. Next up, we have the Empire Strikes Back figures. These are an interesting bunch of figures because, once again, I didn't have very many of these before just recently. The Boba Fett and the Snowtrooper were the 2 figures I had pretty much up until 2 weeks ago. That's when I started collecting all the rest of these. As you can imagine, there's been a huge marketing push for the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, and Hasbro as such has done a pretty great job at putting out a lot of these figures from Empire, which makes me super happy because, like, this figure, I remember this Luke from Bespin was super expensive when I was first getting into collecting, and I always wanted one, so I'm happy to have one now. The Han Solo is also a great figure. It's probably my favorite version of Han Solo. And same with the Bespin Escape Leia. That's one that I spent a decent amount of money on because I just didn't buy it when it was in stores, but it was totally worth it to me. I think the Bespin Escape Leia is my favorite version of Leia, so I was super happy to get that. And these 2 figures over to my right, the Hoth Rebel Troopers, are probably my favorite Black Series figures ever. These are the only 2 figures that I have multiples of. Like, no other figure do I have a duplicate of, but I found it necessary to get a duplicate of this guy because it's so awesome. There are so many configurations you can have this situated as. Like, as you'll notice, like, I have one with the scarf up, I believe one has the scarf down, and there's 2 different faces that actually come with this one figure, which is actually a pretty cool thing. I didn't even know about this until a pretty amazing moment on stream. But yeah, once I found out that this thing came with a second face, I knew instantly I had to get at least one more, and I'll probably get 2 more because there are so many configurations you can have for these guys, and it's just such a nicely detailed figure. Over to my left side, we have the Boba Fett. This is by far the most money I've ever had to spend on a Black Series figure. I think when I got this guy, it was 40 bucks, and at the time, that was a steal. Like, me and my friend Garrett jumped on that. Like, I sent him the eBay listing. I'm like, dude, this is the time for us to get our Black Series Boba Fett's, and we were both so hyped. I think this figure is still, even up until this point, in my top 10 for Black Series figures. Boba Fett, as you all can probably figure out, is just a very awesome looking character design, and he makes a great looking action figure as well. Like, I know I give people a hard time for maybe over glorifying Boba Fett, but you can't lie, the guy looks pretty awesome. So I'm very happy to have him in my collection. And then finally, we have Lando over to my furthest left, a pretty decent looking figure. I actually probably should group him over here with the rest of the heroes. All right, now we have my episode 6 figures. Yeah, this is literally it. It's kind of disappointing to me. I really thought I might have more of these, but I just don't. I don't have very many episode 6 figures. I think the ones I do have are pretty cool, but a lot of these are going to get re-releases, and I definitely need updated versions of them. The Luke is the one that really sticks out. They actually recently released a Luke Skywalker from Endor, and he's wearing like his poncho over this outfit, but it is still this outfit, and it comes with the helmet as well, and you can remove both of those things and basically display him either way. And I would love to get an updated version of him. It sucks to say, because this is another figure. I think I probably spent around 40 bucks on this one as well, which was obviously a big deal at the time. But this was just another one of those figures that were hard to get, and I really do love Luke and his Jedi outfit. This might be my second favorite version of Luke, so it was totally worth it for me back in the day. The Vader, they've definitely made better versions of. This version right here that I have is the one with the helmet that actually comes off. Now let's check out the Rogue One figures. It honestly kind of surprises me that I have this many figures from Rogue One, but I think that's just a testament to the awesome character designs. Like, there are just some really awesome looking troops in Rogue One. I remember going to Toys R Us at midnight for Rogue Friday, and I believe I picked up this figure right here. This one was a Toys R Us exclusive. This is the one that everyone was after that night. I also picked up, I think, a Death Trooper and maybe one of the Scarab, maybe K2SO. Honestly can't remember, but I know I definitely didn't get the main characters. Like Jyn Cassian, I think I skipped on initially because these two came in a 3-pack with one of the Death Troopers. But that was such a fun night. Like, I think that was, it was kind of riding the wave of The Force Awakens. Everyone was still super hype about Star Wars, and it was just exciting to be around other people at midnight at Toys R Us who were happy to pick up some toys, man. Like, that was such a nice time of my life. One of the things that I really like about this wave of figures are just the variations in troops, right? So we have 2 Scarab Troopers right here. I believe this is the standard one. This is the This is the standard one. This is the squad leader. And we also have basically the standard Death Trooper and the Death Trooper Commander, maybe. I'm honestly not sure exactly what his designation is, but he's definitely a rank above the normal Death Trooper. But just so many awesome character designs across the board. I really do love the Krennic figure. I think he looks awesome. He even has a removable cape, which is kind of cool. I don't know, show off Krennic without his cape. This is basically the only Imperial Officer Black Series figure I have, so it kind of makes him special in that regard. I remember getting the K2SO, and I loved it. Like, the K2 just fun character, probably my favorite character from Rogue One, but he also is just such a nice droid design for the Empire. Like, I love what they did with him. One of the cool subtle things about him, I think, are just the orange outlines around his shoulders and hips. I think those look kind of cool. There's just some really nice figures here. Honestly, the sad thing about this wave is the 2 worst figures are probably the Jyn and Cassian. I think that those 2 guys can absolutely go for some updates with the new facial scanning software that they use. But when it comes to merchandise, we just don't see a ton of Rogue One. We really don't see much merchandise from any of the past movies. It kind of seems like once the movie is done and over with, they're just done with the merchandise for that. Like, we see that with Leia sets. You know, we haven't gotten a Rogue One set since the Rogue One waves, and they're basically just on to the next new thing. So hopefully we do start seeing more merchandise, be it Black Series figures or Lego minifigs and sets of Rogue One stuff, because there is a lot of just cool designs to be offered from that film. Now we have the Force Awakens figures. This group of figures is so special to me because it includes basically my 2 first Black Series figures ever. We have the Flame Trooper over here. This was my first one. I love this figure so much. The Flame Trooper just might be my favorite troop design in all of Star Wars. I think Whoever designed this thing knocked it out of the park. I love the way this guy looks. So this was the very first one I picked up. And the second one I picked up was Finn right here. You'll notice I have this first order flag right here next to the Kylo without the helmet. And this was actually kind of cool because this was a Comic-Con exclusive that Hasbro released on their website at one point. So I was able to get basically an exclusive figure in the stand. Like, this was basically the only way to get Kylo without his helmet at the time, because this was actually still before The Last Jedi, I believe. And I picked it up and I thought it was totally worth it at the time. Like, I love this version of Kylo where he's not wearing his helmet, just, you know, standard Adam Driver faced Kylo. I was very happy with that figure pickup back in the day. Just like the Rogue One wave, this is also a group of figures that, or at least the people with actual faces. The helmeted figures are fine, but the ones that are showing their faces, I think absolutely need updates. Like, this Poe figure is such a disservice to Oscar Isaac. Like, the face on this Poe, oh my god, like, this guy absolutely needs an update. And it's sad because they made a Last Jedi version of Poe and the face on that thing isn't much better. Let's go ahead and just turn him around. He can not face the camera. Same thing with the Rey. Like, I think they actually did two versions of this Rey. There was the first version that did not come with a lightsaber. That was kind of a cool thing they did, where basically the later versions of Rey, after the movie came out, they started including the blue lightsaber with her. But the first version of her had a much less detailed face. Even this version right here isn't great. Since they started doing the updated facial scanning software, the Reys just look incredible. This Rey, however, is not an incredible looking Rey. Elo Asty over here was kind of a weird pickup for me. Like, I think I just saw him on eBay for maybe like 15 bucks and I was like, yeah, why not? Let me go ahead and get another Resistance pilot to stand next to Poe. Maybe that'll take some of the emphasis off of his ugly face. And I like this figure a lot. He has a pretty cool head. This is, as far as I know, the only Abbott Nito Black Series figure they've made. So it's just cool having an alien and a pilot. Like, he kind of sticks out. Seems like everyone else here is either like a main character or some recognizable troop. And then there's Elo Asty. And now we have the Last Jedi figures. I really like all of these figures. I think the Kylo over to this side is probably one of my favorite Black Series figures that they've made. He has to be in my top 5. I think the character design looks cool, and I think Hasbro just also did a really good job at recreating him as an action figure. So, love this figure. This Rey right here, this is my favorite version of Rey with her poncho. This is, I guess, the Journey to Ahch-To Rey from the end of The Force Awakens, and for maybe a little less than half of The Last Jedi. I just love this version of Rey. I was super happy when they finally made her into a Black Series figure. The Luke is probably the one of this group that I like the least, just because of this cape. Getting this thing to stay on it was such a pain. Like, I basically had to put a pretty tight knot on the back in order to get it to stay looking anywhere decent. And I mean, it looks fine here, but if I ever want to remove it, I'm probably just gonna have to cut the string because I don't anticipate being able to easily take out this knot. It was worth it because I'm probably just gonna leave it like this, but I really do wish that maybe they put a little bit more thought into how this just stays on him, rather than just basically giving you 2 strings and telling you to just figure it out. And then of course we have the Jedi version of Rey with her end of Last Jedi outfit. Also a very nice figure. I like this figure because it came with like her gun. She has the staff as well as the lightsaber. Like, this for me is like the super decked out with a ton of weapons Rey. Now we have my episode 9 figures. Given that I didn't really enjoy the movie very much, I have to say these figures are all pretty awesome. The Rey is probably the best Black Series Rey they've made. The character design in Rey in episode 9 just looked really cool, and they did a pretty amazing job recreating her as a Black Series figure. I think the hood just looks so cool, just looking at this figure from all angles. Very nice, solid looking figure. The face also just looks great, like it is pretty much a dead ringer for Daisy Ridley, which is really what you want with these figures. The Sith Trooper is probably the first one out of the bunch that I bought. This was obviously a huge part of the marketing push of episode 9, so of course I bit into it. Having seen the movie, obviously these guys don't really do anything, but it is still a cool trooper design and it makes for a nice toy. If there's anything significant that Sith Troopers added to the world, it's that they make nice toys. This guy was one that I was super excited to get. It's obviously just the snowtrooper with the cape and hood, but there's just something so awesome about that to me. I don't know what, but the Snowtrooper cape hood design looks so cool to me. I'm actually super hyped that we got that figure in the Y-Wing set. I think that's what it came in. Even though, I mean, you can just make that figure easily. Put a white cape on a Snowtrooper. I just like that LEGO gave this design, this epic design, the respect it deserved by putting it in a LEGO set. And finally, we have Jannah over to the side. Also, another just really cool looking character design. I love her bow that comes on her back. I'm not gonna try to take it off because I'm gonna start knocking stuff over, but you can see it if I flip her around. She has her bow, oh God, and her cape and hood. Just really nice, solid looking figure. All of these are great looking figures. This is basically during what I'd say, you know, the more recent era of Black Series figures where they just got the technology down pretty perfectly for the faces, and they were just doing a great job with the detail in these figures as well. So while the movie wasn't great, we got some awesome toys out of it. This has to be the weirdest grouping of figures that I have for this video. This is basically just everyone else. Technically, I mean, he's from Solo, obviously, but I only have one figure from Solo, and I didn't feel it was necessary to do a whole segment of this video just for him. And Ahsoka is obviously from Rebels. The two in the middle are from my favorite video game franchise, Knights of the Old Republic. We have Darth Revan and Darth Nihilus. Nihilus is actually the figure that I got most recently. He is the newest addition to my Black Series collection, and I'm just in love with both of these figures. Revan was super difficult to track down. I went to so many different stores over probably a period of like a month trying to find him until I finally got a call from one store that got him in. I was so happy about that. Nihilus, I just pre-ordered from GameStop and it showed up on my doorstep. Pretty interesting just how different those experiences were. The Solo that I got, I honestly was just in the store and I was like, I mean, I've gotten a Black Series figure from every movie, may as well continue that trend. I'll get the main character, I opened it up, looked at it for a few minutes, set it down, and basically never looked at it again until this video. It's not a bad figure, like it actually looks pretty great for Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo. It's just not a character I really care about. Ahsoka was one that I was super excited to get. Tracking her down was also super difficult. She was one that was getting snatched up at Walmarts whenever they were trying to kind of trickling into stores, but I'm happy I picked her up. I think she's a pretty good looking Black Series figure. I love the visual of all of these guys together. You have the two dudes that look like they're in Halloween costumes in the middle. You have just the guy in a jacket and the weird alien tentacle head girl. And that's gonna finish the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out my Black Series collection. It has been so awesome getting to look through all of these. This is literally the first time in probably like 3 years that I've actually seen all of my Black Series figures all together in one place.